Yes.
So this is the data we've been using for our lookup. And what we're going to do today is another form of it does exactly what VLOOKUP does, but there's an extra element to it. If you notice that when we've been doing our VLOOKUP, when we put our cell to be looked up, like the cell to be looked up, if we put like equal to VLOOKUP, we're looking up employee ID, comma, we're looking it up here, and I'm looking up the first name is comma 3, comma false. You would notice that anytime we do a lookup, we're always looking to the side, to the right side. So whatever you're looking up, anything you're looking up, you need to look it up on the column to the right. So you can't look up columns to the right, to the left. So for instance, if I want to look up, if I have like the first name as John, for instance, I cannot look up the employee ID for John because it's on the left side of the first name. So in that case, VLOOKUP would not work unless you change your table around, and which is where index and match works. So index and match can do that. And also another one that can do that is XLOOKUP, but I don't have it on my version of Excel. But if you have a newer version of Excel, I would encourage you to look up XLOOKUP. So let's do index and match.
Sorry, Ken.
Yeah.
You said it won't work if it's on the right.
No, it won't work if you, so for instance, let's look up, I want to look up John. Okay, so I have my first name, I have John. Let's ignore the fact that John, I have 2 or 3 Johns here. Let me see. Okay, let me look up Prince. Okay. So if I want to look up the employee ID for Prince, can I look it up? So it's not confusing. Let me just copy this. So I'm gonna hide it, hide this. So I have Prince as my first name. I want employee ID. I want employee ID for Prince. What do I do? Can I use VLOOKUP for this? Let's try it. Equal to, if we need to use VLOOKUP for this, let's do this together. Let's see if we can use VLOOKUP. Equal to, what do we do? VLOOKUP.
VLOOKUP.
Okay.
Comma.
Comma. No, VLOOKUP.
No, open bracket.
Yeah.
0, 05.
Okay,
No.
so 05. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Comma.
Comma.
Okay.
Then we are looking at employee ID, which is on the right. So can't we say column 1?
We need to
Column.
get.
Yes, column 1. Yeah.
Do this, right?
Oh, okay. Yes, table array first.
Okay, comma.
1.
1. Comma.
False.
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 Do you know why that has not worked? Because when you're looking up, the cell you're looking up has to be on your first column. So we're looking up the first name. If you are going to select a table, you have to start from the first name column, and then you count to the right. So VLOOKUP cannot work in this case because we're trying to look up employee ID, which is on the left of the first name column. Does that make sense?
Please come again, please.
You know the way VLOOKUP works. We'll put the cell that we're looking up. Let's go back to, let's go back to this one. and actually look this up. So it will be equal to V lookup, comma. If we click employee ID, comma, where do we select our table from? We have to select it from employee ID. Employee ID has to be the first column. So the cell you are looking
Oh,
up
okay.
has
Yes,
to
I
be on
get
the
it.
first column. Otherwise, it won't work.
Okay.
So if we, for instance,
So
if we
whatever
select it,
cell you pick. Okay, yeah.
if you select this, just these two columns and do like comma 2, comma 4s, it won't work because your selection, what it's looking for is it's just looking for it on that first column. So it's going to be looking for that employee ID on your first column. So anything you choose, your table selection has to have that on the first column. Otherwise, it won't work. And that is why this has not worked, because we are looking up prints, right? And it has to be a table selection. The first name has to be on the first column. Please go ahead, Tilly.
I don't know if this data is on Telegram. I don't know if this is the previous data.
This is the one I just sent now to the Zoom chat.
Oh, okay. Can somebody please send it to me on Telegram because I can't find it in the chat.
It's the same previous
It's actually the previous
data.
one. It's the same one. But if you go to
It's
the
the same one
chat,
that we
it's actually there. That's about. I just sent it just before we start. 9:07.
No, I can't see it. I don't mind if somebody can send it to me, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So where were we? Yeah. So it won't work if you don't pick that, if it's not on your first column. Whatever you're looking for has to be on your first column, which is why this has not worked. I'm going to hide this employee ID. So what we're going to try is index and match.
Sorry,
Just,
yeah, I have a question. So
okay.
for the VLOOKUP that we just checking out, are you saying that if we rearrange the table by having the first name on the first column,
Then,
that is going to work?
Yeah, then it will work. So if we rearrange this table, then that would work. And I can try that for you. So that's our table. I was looking up. Yeah, so the one I did, this is the one I did. Okay. I'm going to rearrange that table. I'm just going to add this again. So if I rearrange this table, if I do this, I'm looking up. I'm looking for employee ID. I'm just saying. After arranging the table, did you see what happened? We're looking for employee ID. So we're looking for column 3. So once we rearrange the table, it would work because we're always looking to the right. And it won't work if you are not looking to the right. I'm going to undo that. So I have everything back the way it was. And now we're going to use index and match to solve this. So when you have something like this, sometimes you might want to rearrange your table if you are just only comfortable with VLOOKUP. But it might be a large data that if you rearrange it, it will mess it up. So you need to like use something that would work for that particular data. And that is index and match. Index and match is broken into two bits, but it is actually also quite easy. So we'll start with a match. And what match does is it looks for the position of that item that you're looking for. It would give you a position, and then index would return the data. I'm going to demonstrate it so it's clear. So I have prints. If I want to know, I'm looking for employee ID. And I'm going to put match. So if you see, it says returns the relative position of an item in an array that matches a specified value in a specified order. So you open a bracket, it asks you what is your lookup value. We click on prints, and then it's looking for our lookup array. Prints is here. This is prints. Prints is on my first name, comma, and it wants and it's going to ask me, do I want an exact match, less than or greater than? What I want in this case is an exact match, which is 0. And don't worry if you don't get it first time. I'll go over this over and over again until we get it. And then I close my brackets. And what it's telling me is that prints is on 14. So when it looks at this table from my selection, so I've selected this table. So it looks at it from the top and finds where prints is. Prints is on cell 14. So if you count it down, you see that that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that is where prints is. So that's the first aspect to it. You first find the position of that item you're looking for. So that's 14. And then what index does is it will now return what is on 14 on the row, on the column you specified. So I will say equal to, I'm going to break it down into 2, then I'm going to combine the 2. Index, comma, and then this is my array. That's my table, comma. I want it to return anything in position 14, comma. 14, I can actually close the bracket. No, I've done something wrong. Yeah, okay. Let me do that. Okay. So index equal to index, open a bracket. The first thing index asks you for is the table. So if we select the table, this is our table, comma, and we're looking for position 14 on this table, comma, 14, comma, and I want it to return, because I'm looking for employee ID, I want it to return whatever is on column 1, which is where my employee ID is. So if I do 1 and close my brackets, then it would bring me Prince's employee ID. So I'm going to focus on this formula. So if you notice that this is my 14, I typed it in to explain it. This 14, I need to break it down. So this 14 is my match formula. So what I need to do is replace that 14 with match. So when I get to that point, I have to put the match formula. So it's like 2 formulas in 1. But with practice, you will get it. So I'm going to do a combination now here. So it would be, you start with index equal to index, open a bracket, select your table. So this is my table. And then, comma. So I've selected my table. Then I want to put my position. And to get my position, I have to use a match. So I'll put match and then open a bracket. What I'm matching is the praise, comma. And this is where I want it to look for praise. This base here, comma, and I want an exact match for praise. That will be 0. Then I can close that bracket, and that is my match bit. And then I will continue my index formula. So once you put a comma, it asks you what column do you want to bring in. And my column in this case is 1. And I close the bracket and enter.
Sorry. Why did you add 0, please?
0 for match. So when you do a match function, let me do the match on its own, equal to match. I'm looking for this, comma, and that is my table. That's where I want it to look for. Can you see these options that has come out? So I've got 1 is less than, 0 is exact match, 1 is greater than. I want an exact match. That is why I picked 0. So in VLOOKUP, you use false and true. In match is 1, 0, and minus 1. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
So that is my match. Let's see. Let's use let's bring out the formula box. Equal to match. Let's bring out the formula box and see if it works better. So when you type in your match and you open a bracket, then you can click on this FX. It brings out the function arguments. And then this is clearer because it will ask you for your lookup value. In this case, we are looking up prints. And then where is our table? We need to select our table. This is where I want to look up prints. And then the match type. Match type is a number 1, 0, or minus 1, indicating which value to return. So 0 is the exact match. So I'll put 0 here and OK. Is that clear? Can we do this match together? Let's look for Diana. I think we have only one Diana there. Let's match this, Diana. Who wants to try?
I'm going to try.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So index.
Okay, are you doing both of them together or you're doing the match?
Okay, sorry, okay, let me. Okay, I have to do it on my own system, right? Okay.
Let's start with the match. Let's do a match first before we start combining the two. I just want to make sure everybody is on the same page.
Equal to match,
Equal to match.
open bracket,
Open the bracket.
lookup value, that's Diana.
Diana, okay.
And comma,
Comma.
the table,
The table.
yes. The table, yeah,
Okay.
comma,
Comma.
and 0, yeah, exact match 0.
No, it's
Zero.
not. It's not the table.
Ah,
It has to be the
Do
where
you
the
know
label
why?
is.
Yeah, sorry, someone was saying it's not the table, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's the
How do we
first name
correct it?
column.
It's
the
that
first
column.
column.
Because I'm just looking for Diana on this column. So if we correct this and we only, or how do we correct that?
We move the red box over the entire thing and just move it to be on first name.
Just be on first name and enter. And then we get Diana. Is that okay? Should we do that again? Is everyone on board?
Yes, do it again.
Let's do it again. Okay. Let's do Tiger. Let's do Tiger. Who's going to help?
Equal to
Equal to
March,
March.
open bracket,
Open the bracket.
we click on Tiger.
Tiger.
That's yeah. Then we pick our table lookup array from that first name.
We need a
to the
comma
last one.
first.
Comma.
Comma here. From
And
the
then,
first name up to Julia,
okay,
and the match comma,
comma,
and the match type is 0. Then we
Zero.
close the bracket.
and we'll
Enter.
close the bracket. Thank
Enter.
you. So we found the position. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an index using this 11. Okay, first before we combine the formula. So to do an index, I'll say equal to index, open a bracket. It's going to ask us for a table. I'll select the table. For index, I can even select just, column B. It will still work. So index, comma, and I'm saying I want the row number. You can see it's asking for the row number. In this case, because we've done a match for Tiger, we know the row number is 11, right? So I'm going to put 11. I'm just going to, I can either select this or no, I don't want to select that so that the next one is not difficult. 11, comma, and then it's going to ask me for the column number. And what column are we looking for? Are we still doing employee ID? Yeah, let's do employee ID. Yeah, column 1, okay? Enter. And that is Diane's employee. How many Diane's do I have here? Oh, Tiger, we're doing Tiger. Sorry. So that's Tiger's employee ID. Okay? Let's do this index together. Let's do this index. Who is going to help us with index? Who wants to try index?
Let me try.
Okay.
Equals to
Equals to
index
index.
bracket.
Open a bracket.
Yes. The entire table.
Table.
Comma.
Comma.
11.
11.
And close the brackets, I think.
No,
No.
comma,
Comma.
Comma.
and column number 1.
Column number 1. Okay.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we can't close the bracket until we tell the formula where to pick the answer from.
Okay.
So we can see that. So the way we're now going to do, should we do this index again, or should we go into the combination?
One more time.
Let's do it again, please.
Let's do it again. Okay. So in this case, for this index, let's look for last name. Okay. So let's do for last name for Tiger. Who's gonna help?
I'll go, please.
Okay,
Equals to
go to
index.
index,
Then you open the bracket,
open the bracket,
the old table. You select the old table.
select the old table. Okay,
Row number.
Oh, comma.
comma. Now you know why you need to put a comma, because if you see what is showing here, it would highlight what you're currently doing. So it's when you put a comma that it highlights the next thing you're meant to put in. So it can actually guide you. The comma, and then you can see that the row number is highlighted.
Yes. Tiger.
Hello.
We're looking for the row number. We've
11.
already found that Tiger is
11.
on row 11.
11, right?
11, yeah,
Comma.
comma.
Then colon 1.
We're looking for last name.
Okay, 3. Last name 2.
Column 2.
Last name is 2, okay. And then we'll close the bracket
Close the bracket.
and enter. And that is Woods,
Yeah.
okay? So we are now going to combine this. We're going to combine this, and we're looking for employee ID. So instead of doing our match first and doing our index first, we are going to combine this formula. And the way we combine, if you look at this formula, where we have 11, right? That 11, we're going to insert the formula we have here. So that 11 is going to be our match formula. So we're not like actually typing anything in. So we've only done it this way, so I can split the two, so we'll see what both parts of this formula is doing. So now we're going to start again, and then we're going to combine it. So we start with index, and then we'll slot the match in between, and then we'll finish off the index. So this is how we do it. It will be equal to, let's do the index together. We know the index, we know the match. So let's do it together. Equal to
Index.
X,
Open bracket.
Open bracket.
the
Entire
entire
table.
The entire table.
Table,
Comma.
comma. Now this is where we need to put the row number, and this is where we need to start our match formula. The previous one we did, we just put 11 there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But this time around, we are not putting 11. We are going to combine the two. So once we get to this stage, we want to arrive at 11. So we're going to use the formula to get to 11. So it's going to be match. So we're going to put our match.
Is it match or is equal to match?
No, it's not equal to. You
We
can't have
already
2
have
equal
one.
to.
Okay.
So it's a comma.
Okay.
So it's going to
Okay.
be comma, match. So let's do our match formula.
Mhm.
You
Then
open
the
bracket.
tiger,
No, open bracket.
Open bracket.
Yeah.
Open
Then
Click on tiger.
Tiger.
Click on tiger.
Yeah.
comma,
Comma.
Comma.
first name column,
First name column.
okay.
Then 0, comma.
Then 0.
0. Close the bracket.
Close the bracket. So that's our match formula. So you can see that it's now defaulted back to index for us to finish off our index formula. So how do we finish off our index formula?
comma,
Comma,
1,
comma 1.
No. Yeah. Is it one?
close bracket.
We're looking for employee ID. Yeah. Close
Employee
bracket.
Okay. One. Yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah.
It's actually easier than it looks, but it just takes practice. Let's do that again. Let's do it for,
Excuse me.
yes.
Mine keeps on showing NA.
Check your selection. Let's check your selection. Do you want to share your screen?
Okay, no problem.
Do you want to share?
Yeah, I will do that.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm gonna stop sharing so you can share. If you click on your, yeah. So you have your index.
Hello, can you maximize your screen? Okay. Click on the green, the green where you have a yellow, red,
green dots.
yellow, and green. The green dots on at the top.
On your top left.
Maybe Zoom is copying it. Maybe yeah, okay. Yes.
Okay. So let's see what has happened here. So index. So you picked your table B3 to D20, comma, match H7, comma, D3 to D20, comma 0, then comma 1. I don't see why I should have an error.
When I was trying to do the match too, it kept on always saying an error when I was doing the match. Because if I tried doing the match for this one,
Yeah, let's start a match. Match. Okay. If you go to your table, the tiger, can you click on that tiger for me, please? On the table itself. Yeah. If you go to click on the formula bar.
this one?
Yeah. If you copy that tiger and paste it on H.
I should paste it where?
Paste it on H7. Cell H7. It's the formatting. Something has gone wrong with the formatting. So it's the formatting that is not, so it's, one is like a text, one is, so it's the formatting that is,
Okay.
that is causing that. So the formatting between your H cell and your table was different, which was why you had the error. So if you do it now, then you won't have that error.
Okay, they already left.
Yeah. So if you do your index and match, then you won't have the error. So if the formatting, like for instance, if you are looking up number and it's formatted as a text, then it might not work. Sometimes your text is there and it has like a space, it might not work. So sometimes you might have to like use a trim function to remove like any excess character or extra space.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I will stop sharing that.
Okay. So is everyone okay with this?
Let's try it again.
You want us to try it again? Okay, let's try it again. In this case, let's do Faye. And let's do Faye's last name. Okay? So who's going to help us?
Let's okay.
Equal to
Index.
index,
Open bracket.
open a bracket,
The entire
Zero.
table.
sorry,
The entire table.
the entire table. Let's select the table,
Comma.
comma,
Match.
match,
Open bracket.
open bracket,
Foye. Abi Faye.
Faye,
Comma.
comma,
Please, what are we looking at?
we're looking for last name.
First name column.
First name. Last name
Yeah, we're
column.
looking, yeah, no, yeah, we're looking,
Yeah.
we're using first name.
Okay, first
So
name column.
first name column,
Comma.
comma,
0.
0,
Close
Comma.
bracket.
close bracket, no, we'll close the bracket.
Okay, close
So,
bracket.
okay,
Comma.
Comma.
comma,
Two. Comma
2,
2.
comma 2,
Comma 2.
Close bracket.
close bracket,
Close bracket.
enter. And Faye is Adams. So can we see that it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it? It's just knowing that, you start with index, you slot your match inside, and then you finish off your index with the column number. Okay, let's do.
Can we pull the formula? You know how you told us instead of
Yeah,
doing
that
the
was what
pump.
I was going to do. So I want to populate
okay.
this so that we can pull our formula. Okay, so let's start with employee. Let's do this employee ID, and then we'll now drag the formula.
Equal
To
index.
sorry? Someone was talking. Who is talking?
Index.
Index.
Open bracket.
Open a bracket.
Then the table of array.
Table.
Then column. Then comma.
Comma.
Match.
Then match.
Match.
Open bracket as well.
Open bracket.
Then the lookup value. We're looking at 05.
05 as Prince. Okay.
Yeah. Comma.
Comma.
Then lookup array. We're looking at the employees detail. That's column 1.
No, the first name.
We're looking
Yes,
for first
column
name.
B. Yeah,
Column,
is it first
column
name?
D.
Yeah,
Yeah.
column D.
Okay.
Then comma,
Comma.
the exact match, which is
That's
0,
mine. Yeah.
and the close bracket.
Close the bracket.
Then the next one is what is it again?
Column
Column
Comma.
number.
Comma.
Yeah.
Comma
We're missing a
first.
So
comma.
we're looking for the ID number, which is column 1.
We have to put a comma first. Comma.
Comma rather,
1.
yeah.
Okay.
1. And close, yeah.
Close the bracket.
Close the brackets, yeah.
Enter. Okay. So we'll put our formula in. Let's drag this. If we need to drag this, looking at this formula, we already know what will move, right? Do we know what will move? Or should we just drag it first and then see what moves?
Yeah, let's drag it first.
Let's drag it first. So I'm going to drag it to the last name. And I'm going to drag it down.
Okay.
So we need the dollar sign in front of them.
Yeah, so we need to, put the dollar
We need to
sign.
freeze the table.
Yeah.
We know that from the first one we've done, we already know that any lookup we want to do, we're going to be using the first name, right? We're going to use this column O,
Mm.
and then the rows will be changing. So what we should do first is freeze this column O. And we're going to freeze this O here. I'll put a dollar in front of O. And then we also know that we don't want our table to move, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to freeze my table. And so I'm freezing my table. And to freeze the table, the shortcut is F4. So if you press F4, and I've just discovered how to do F4 on my laptop keys. So I've always struggled with that, to pick the F4 function, even though it's there, but when you pick it, it gives you something else. So it's the function. If you press your function key and your F4 button, then you can do that. So we've frozen the table. And then what else do we need to freeze? We need to freeze our match.
Column array. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to freeze that. So because we're always going to be looking at first name to
You can
that
change the
column.
ringtone. That's the ringtone.
Sorry?
Do it after you finish your homework.
So I'm going to freeze column D. Enter. However, when I drag it to last name, don't forget that last name is on second column. So we have to change this bit here to 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then after doing this, we can now drag this down. Where is Peter? Oh, I thought I froze the. Yeah, I meant to freeze both.
And 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I meant to freeze both of. I'm gonna change this to 2, and then drag it down. And then you have that. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Do you want someone?
Not
Do you
so
want someone
clear
to?
concerning the freezing and the unfreezing.
Sorry?
The
Not so
freezing and the
clear on
unfreezing.
the freezing.
We should do that again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Let's do that again. We are going to put the formula back. Okay. So the reason why we freeze the formula is when we want to keep our reference on a particular cell, then you're better off freezing that so that when you drag your formula, it doesn't move, because formulas in Excel, they are relative. So if you say pick a formula, if you write a formula to pick 2 cells to the right of A, anywhere you put that formula, it will always be looking 2 cells to the right. So if you drag it anywhere, it will look 2 cells to the right of that cell. Because in this case, we have our table fixed. We don't want our table to move. We don't want it to reference another cell, because we're just putting the formula in first and we're just going to drag it. One thing with Excel is, especially probably sometimes with complicated formula, you can just copy. You can even copy from another spreadsheet and just change the cells it's picking, as long as you understand what cell is picking. So you don't have to type in all the formula again. You can just copy it and just change the cell it's picking to match what you want it to pick. And that is it. So what I do is, because I want the table to be frozen, I want the column to be frozen. I want this column O, where it's referencing, I want it to be frozen because I'm not changing that. So I need to freeze it. Otherwise, if I don't do that, if we drag this, for instance, apart from that, if you drag this, for instance, the table will move. If you look at this, can you see how the table has moved?
Yeah.
And that is why we are freezing it, so that we still have the full table, no matter where we drag that formula to. So what we're going to do is we are going to freeze. Once we put it in first, we need to freeze it so that it just references what we want it to reference. If I click on this formula bar, we can see all the cells this formula refers to. D3 to D10, we know that is our table, right? And our table is not changing. It's not going to move. We don't want it to move. So we'll freeze the column by putting a $sign in front of the column. And we'll freeze the row by putting a $sign in front of the row. A short way of doing it is just, if you click there and you press F4 on your keyboard, it would freeze both of them. If you press F4 again, it releases one, freezes the other. Press F4 again, it swaps that over. If you press F4 again, it removes it. So I want a dollar in front of my row as well as my column. And that is for the table. And also on our match here, we know we are matching column O. So anything on column O needs to be matched. So in this case, I will freeze column O. I'll put a $sign in front of column O. And also, I know that column O would always be looking at this column D. So I will freeze D3, and that's by putting a $sign in front of both of them, and freeze this as well by putting a $sign in front of the column as well as the row. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So when I drag it down, now, if I click here that had the error before, you will see that the table has not changed. So it is still referencing the table, which is why we freeze it. Otherwise, you have a lot of errors. And then to drag it to last name, if I drag it to the side, it's going to be showing employee ID, and that's because I haven't changed. I'm still saying pick column 1, anything on column 1 on my index. So we need to change the last name bit to column 2 because that's where the last name is. So I'll change that 1 to 2 and enter, and then I can drag that down. And then it works. Is that clear?
Yep.
Yeah. So are we comfortable with index and match now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to, well, I requested that if you wanted me to touch anything, I don't think I got anything. So let's move on to some logical functions. I'm going to, I don't remember if we did it last week, but I have some other exercises. I will share this in the chat as well. Please, if someone can send it to the person on Instagram, that would be great. I'm just going to share another screen. Can everyone see the spreadsheet I just added to the chat?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to share another screen. So let me know if you're seeing another screen now. Name, age, receives gifts. Can you see my
Yes,
screen?
yeah.
And it's changed from what we were doing before.
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with if. I don't remember if we did it last week.
Yes, we
So
did it last week, Joe.
we did
Just
this
one
if
example.
last week, right? Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Hmm.
Could you do a brush up for us on the if?
On the if, okay.
Yeah.
So we have some
Thank
logical
you.
functions in Excel. How long do we have left? I think we still have 1 hour, right? We have some
Yes, we do
we
have
do.
1 hour.
We have some logical functions in Excel. So you can say if this satisfies this, then do this. So you're saying if this happens, then you can do this. So you're actually telling Excel to look for something to make sure that like a condition is satisfied, and then you're telling Excel to do something. So in this case, I have a small table. And these are names of kids and their ages. And Santa Claus only gives kids above, any kid above 10 does not get a gift. If they are younger than 10, then they would get a gift. So we have this long list of kids, and we want to know how many gifts Santa would take to like the shopping mall to give out. So Tommy is 5, Grace is 2, Jim is 14, Sarah is 15, Kate is 8, and Kim is 10. Well, this is quite a small list, so we know who will receive gifts or not. So what we are going to do is put an if formula to find who will receive the gift. So we're going to start with equal to and if, okay? And we open a bracket. And when you open the bracket, it would ask you to put your logical test. And in this case, what will be our logical test? We're looking for a child that is younger than 10. So it would be if the age is less than 10, right? And that is what we're going to put here. So I'm going to say if, open a bracket. If I click on age, I want this C3, I need it. If it's less than 10, that is my logical test. If it's less than 10, I'm going to say, okay, if it's less than 10, then that means this child will receive a gift. So if it's less than 10, just put yes. Otherwise, if it's not less than 10, then no gifts. Enter. So it looks at this cell, is less than 10, it returns a yes. If I drag this down, 2 is a yes, 14 is a no, because 14 is greater than 10. 15 is a no, 8 is a yes. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to do this using the box, the function box. So if we do equal to, if, open a bracket, I can go to this function box and open the function argument. And then it asks me for my logical test. My C3 has to be less than 10. Then I go to the next box, value if true. If true, what do we want it to do? Okay, let's put yes. And if false, no. And okay. And then you have that. Let's do this together. I'm going to delete it. And in this case, we want to give, in this case, we want to give gifts to, we want kids kids older than 10. How do we do that? So I'll swap this around. If the child is older than 10, that is when they get a gift. Can someone help us?
If, okay.
Is equal
Equal
to
sign.
Okay.
If,
Yeah.
yeah,
Open bracket.
open
the
bracket,
Put the bracket.
age.
cell C, C3
C3
Just click on the age here.
Greater than
is greater than 10,
10.
greater than 10,
comma,
greater
yes.
than 10.
hyphen.
But we have to like put that
Yes,
in.
value if is true,
Value if it's true,
that will be yes.
that will be yes. But if we type just yes, it won't work.
Should be inside because it's a string, it should be inside
Yeah.
the semicolon.
So it
Both
should
sides.
be
Yeah.
inside this.
Okay.
Both sides, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Comma.
both sides,
Comma.
comma.
And if is false, it will be no.
No.
Inside the
Okay.
semicolon as well.
Yeah.
No.
And then close the bracket
Bracket, yeah.
and enter. So Tommy is obviously not older than 10, so not getting a gift.
Yeah.
And then if we drag that down, then we can see that only the 14-year-old and the 15-year-old gets a gift. And you can literally put like anything here. Like for instance, like instead of putting the yes or no, you can put something else. So it might be if equal to if oh, I need to open a bracket. Open a bracket. If this C3, if it's greater than 10, equal to
Comma.
let's put too old for Santa. Close the bracket. And if it's
Comma.
false,
Too young.
Want to do too young. Is it too young or
No,
not
it's
too
too.
young? It's gonna get a gift. So
Okay.
You
it's
just
your
put
lucky
gift.
day.
It's your lucky day.
It's your lucky day. Let's enter. So Tommy is your lucky day, and
Yeah.
Jim is too old for Santa, and Sarah is too old for Santa. So you can literally like put this in, this formula in. Maybe there are some things you need to look out for on your data. So it might be that if this is true, check data. Or if this is true, you know, do something. So it can actually inform what you need to do.
Okay.
Someone raised up there. Funlayo.
Yes, ma'am. Please, the last one we did, you said that if the colon is not changing, that we should freeze it. But I noticed that you did not freeze this. So why are we not freezing the age?
So where are we not freezing the age? Because we don't need to freeze the age because we are always looking one cell to the left. So in this case, we don't need to freeze it because it would always reference what we wanted to reference. So when we're looking at this, we're looking at this cell. When we do this, we want to look at this cell. When we do this, we want to look at this cell. We only need to freeze if we're only looking for one cell or like a particular table.
Okay, okay.
But in this case, no, because it will always, once you put a formula, it will always, so in this case, once you put that formula, it will always look to find the, when you drag this first formula down, the first one, the cell is C3. So it will always look one cell to the left, which is what we want it to be doing. Does that make sense?
So if we have, even if it's a larger array of table, it's still going to do it. It's not going to shift. The table is not going to shift.
Because we did not select a table, we only selected a cell. That cell is not going to, it's going to just, it will just be looking one cell to the left, which is what we want it to do.
All right. Thank you.
If we freeze it, then it will only be looking at like maybe this cell. If we freeze it to this cell, then it will only be looking at that, and we don't want that. Okay. So that is if. So we can use if, to sum. We can do a sum if. We can do an average if. We can do a count if. So if you go to the second tab on the data I sent, so I have the names of, these are the names of footballers. I've got their favorite color. I've got their income in millions, and I've got the city they live in. So in this case, I want to know what is the total income of all footballers who like the color red. So I have a lot of footballers here. I have some like red. I want to know the total income of everyone that likes red. What would
Sorry,
be the
please,
total
do we have
income?
this data set?
Sorry?
Do we have this data set?
Yeah, I just sent it now. It's the same one we're still using. This is just the next tab.
Okay, okay.
So if you go to the tab called various ifs, that is there. If we want to look at
sorry, what I have on the next tab is different for what is on the screen. And I'm using the data set, just set. Because on mine now, Michigan, that's the last.
You need to scroll up. If you scroll up, you see it.
Okay.
Can you say it?
Yeah, I have it now. Thank you.
You have it. Okay, great. Okay, so we want to do a sum if, and we're saying we've done an if, that if this happens, do this. So in sum if, we're saying if this is the case, then sum it. So it's basically what we've just done, but in this case, we are summing numbers as against like putting like a phrase. So what is the total income of all footballers who like red? I know Marcus likes red. Bukola Saka likes red. Raheem likes red. So we have a couple of them who like red, okay? And the way to do it is we use the sum if formula. So I'm going to say equal to sum if and open the bracket. No, I'm in the wrong, so equal to sum if, I'll open the bracket. And when you open the bracket, it's asking you for a range. So you have your range, you have your criteria range, and then you have your sum range. Those are the three elements of a sum if. In this case, my range is, I'm looking for people who like red. the income of people who like red, the footballers who like red. So my range has to be where the color is, because that is what I am looking for. So I'm going to go to the table and select my colors. So this is the range I want it to look for red. So after selecting my range, and then you put a comma, it would ask you, what criteria do you want me to look for in this range you have selected? So I want red. So I'll click on red. I want red here. And then comma. And then it's going to ask me, what is your sum range? You need to put your sum range. Where do you want me to apply the sum to? And this is where my figures are. So I will select that and close the brackets and enter. $185. That's the total income of people who like red. Let's do a quick calculation and see if it actually picks it correctly. So I know this is red plus another red here plus red plus red plus red plus red. 194.
Yeah, mine
Right,
gave
got
me
194.
What is this not picking? Yeah, it's because there's a mismatch between my range and my figures. What did you get? 194?
Yes, 194.
That is why you should always spot check your formula. When you do a form, when you are working on it, on a big spreadsheet, always spot check just to make sure that your formula is working and you haven't done the wrong thing. So that is 194, and that is 194. Sorry? Okay. So this is the total income for everyone who likes red. I'm going to do it again, but this time around, we're going to use the dialog, the formula box. So it would be equal to sum if, open a bracket. Let's open the function arguments. And it's asking me, what is my range? And the range is the criteria range. So this is the range of cells you want evaluated. So my range is my colors here. That is my range. And my criteria is red here. So I click on that. And then my sum range is where I want the sum applied to, which is here. And okay. Is that clear?
Yes.
Can we do it together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, equal to, let's do it. Who's gonna help?
Equal to sum if bracket,
open a bracket,
the range, which is where the colors is.
Where the colors are. So that is
D, yeah.
Yeah.
Comma.
Yeah,
Comma.
comma. Yeah, what do we want? What color do we want? Red,
Red.
pink,
Red.
red. Yeah, the sum sum range, that's the end.
Comma.
Yeah, comma, and then the last part.
The sum range is
Yeah.
what I want to add together.
Yeah.
And
Close the bracket.
close the bracket.
Mm.
Close the bracket. And then we have 194. Is that clear?
No.
No.
No. For me, no.
Okay, what is not clear?
Please, let's just Do it again, please. Thank you.
Okay. Should we use the function box?
No.
Okay. So equal to
Okay.
Sum if
sum if,
Equal to sum if.
brackets,
open the bracket,
the range,
the
where
range,
the D column, yeah,
that is where
The range is
colors,
red.
the
yeah, where
whole,
the colors are,
where the colors are, yeah,
Okay.
because that's what we're looking for, right?
Okay.
yeah,
Comma.
And then comma.
So the
Criteria
color
red.
the
The
color we're
criteria is
looking
red,
for, yeah,
Comma.
comma,
then the sum range, the end, that's E column.
yeah.
We'll
So
highlight
this is the
it.
sum range here.
Close bracket, right?
Close the
And close
bracket
bracket, yes.
and enter.
Okay.
Okay. So there are three
Yeah.
elements to it. You have your range. You have your range, as in your criteria, which is red. Your range, that's your criteria range. That is where you want it to look for the red. And then you have your sum range, which is what it is adding together. The next one is we are now going to do sum ifs. And you use sum ifs when you have multiple criteria. So when you have multiple, when you want it to check for multiple, then you use sum ifs. The formula is, it works the same way, but just slightly different in the way you construct it. In sum ifs, you start with your sum range, and then you start putting your criteria. So we start with equal to sum ifs. So what you're saying is that you have a lot of ifs. So you have a lot of conditions that need to be satisfied before you sum this together. So in this case, we want the total income of all footballers who like the red color and live in Paris. So if you like the red color, but you don't live in Paris, no, we don't want you here. If you live in Paris, but you don't like the red color, we don't want you. We want you to like the red color and live in Paris. Okay?
Okay.
So we start with sum ifs. So sum ifs, we open our bracket. What is our sum range?
Column D. Column E, I mean.
Column E. So we'll put our sum range first. If you notice, the last one, we started with the criteria range. So this starts with the sum range. And then we'll put a comma. And then it's asking us for, what is it asking us for? The criteria range.
Yeah.
And which is, it says criteria range 1, because it knows that when you are using a sum ifs, you have multiple criteria. So criteria range 1. What's our criteria range 1? We can use either of the two. Should we start with the color?
Yeah, red.
So if we're using the color red, so criteria range 1 is this. And then comma. And you want you to look for red there. And then comma. And then it asks you, what's your criteria range 2?
Column B.
Column B. Comma.
And Paris.
What's our criteria for criteria 2?
Paris.
Paris. And then if we close the bracket, enter. It's giving us 110. So let's see the people who live in Paris and like red. So red, London, red. So Paris, red, Paris, red, Paris, red. So those three like equal to this plus this plus this. That should be 110, which is what we got here.
Can we do it again? Because that was long.
Okay. Let's do it again. This time around, let's use the function box. So equal to sum ifs, open a bracket. Let's use our function argument. Sum range. What is our sum range? Which is the first thing he asked us for.
Column E is for sum range.
So I say that again.
Column E.
Column E, yeah. That's our sum range. And one thing in Excel, please avoid typing cell addresses, as in manually typing it. Just select it, always select it. Otherwise, it's prone to errors. And then the next one is our criteria range 1. What's our criteria range 1?
Red.
No, that's our criteria.
No, column red. Yeah, column D.
Column, the
column D.
color column.
Yeah.
So that's our range. That's, yeah. So, and our criteria 1 is
Red.
Is red. Is red. And then you can see that it would keep it. What happens is it keeps expanding. Once you finish criteria 1, it will give you option to add in criteria range 2. And then it will continue like that until you are satisfied that you have put in everything. What's our criteria range 2?
Column B.
Column B.
B.
That's our criteria range 2. Okay. What's our criteria?
Paris.
There's the Paris. I'll click on Paris. Okay. And okay. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Once more, please. I didn't get that.
What method do you want us to use?
I think
The first method.
the first method.
The first method without the box, without the function arguments.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. So what do we start with?
Equal to.
Equal to
Sum
ifs.
Sum ifs.
Open
E4.
bracket.
Open bracket.
Open bracket.
Open
E4.
bracket.
Dual of E4. Sum range.
The sum range, which is the
Column
sum
A.
range, then comma.
So criteria 1, I don't know what's criteria 1.
No, that's criteria range 1. So your criteria, we said we want people who like red color and live in Paris.
Okay.
So one criterion is Paris, one is red, color red. And it doesn't matter which one we use first.
Okay.
So the all of column D.
What did you say?
Column D, the all of column D. Innit?
So we should do column D as our first criteria
column D.
range 1. And then
Comma.
comma.
Red.
Red.
Click on red.
And we're looking for red.
Comma.
Comma.
The all of column B.
Column B.
Column B, which is where our city is. That's our criteria range 2. Comma.
Comma.
Paris.
And Paris. And then we close the bracket. Before I close the bracket, can you see that you can continue to put in the criteria?
Yep.
Can you see you would ask it's still waiting for you to put more in if you have more in. So you can continue to put more in. Then let's close this bracket and enter. And then we have 110. Okay? Should we move on to count if? Which is like the same thing, but in this case, it's going to count. It's not going to sum. So if we do equal to count if, you're saying count the number of cells that meet this particular condition. So we're just doing a count in this case. How many footballers like the color yellow? So we want to count the number of footballers that like the color yellow. We start with equal to count if, open a bracket, and it's asking us for range and criteria. What is our range here?
Our range is column D, which is
favorite the colors.
Column D, and then comma.
Then we click on yellow.
And we click on yellow. And then we close the brackets. Enter. It's telling us 4 footballers like yellow. Let's check. So we got yellow, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 people that like yellow. So stop scrolling up. I'm just gonna add some. I'm gonna add some documents, some rules on them. Is that clear?
Yes.
So that's like pretty straightforward, right? Just do a
Yes.
count if, put your range, and put
I don't have an answer. Is there something else I can help with?
sorry, that's my Siri.
Can you do it again just one more time, please?
Okay. So we want to count the number of people who like yellow. We have a table, we have a large table, and we want to count, it might be that you're counting instances of a particular, item, or you have, you might just want to count anything. As long as that condition is satisfied, then you will count it as 1. So this is count, so we'll put equal to count if, open a bracket, and it's only going to ask us for the range and the criteria. Our range in this case, because we're counting the color yellow, we need to put the range where the colors are, which is D. And then what we're looking for here, what we are counting is yellow. So we click on yellow, close the bracket, and enter. And then we have 4. We can also use the function box for this, which is equal to count if, open a bracket, and let's look at our function. And it's only going to ask you for range and criteria. Our range here is D. And then our criteria is yellow. And okay. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So it's very close to the sum if. You're only putting your criteria and range. And in this case, it's counting as against adding a sum, as again, summing some numbers. And the same thing applies to count ifs. So in count ifs, we have 2 criteria. One is we want people who like yellow and who live in California. So count the number of footballers who like yellow and who live in California. We know there are 4 footballers like yellow. So out of those 4, which one actually lives? How many live in California? Let's see. We'll start with count ifs equal to count ifs, open a bracket, and then it's asking us what is our criteria range 1. if we start with the color, a criteria range will be where the colors are, comma. A criteria 1 is the color yellow, comma. A criteria range 2 is the city. We're looking for California, comma. And a criteria 2 is California. And then we close the bracket and enter. So it's found only one. So only one footballer likes yellow and live in California. Let's find out. So this is our yellow. And that's Paris, New York, California, Paris. So it's only one person that lives in California and it's found the one. Is that clear?
Yep.
Should we do it again?
Yeah, please, I have a question.
Okay.
Based on this last one we just did, is it possible, we're able to count it shows one. But if you want to find out the name of the footballer that is matches that one, is it
That's
possible?
matching that one.
Yeah.
If you want to find out the name of the footballer that is matching that one, you're going to have to use an index and match or the VLOOKUP. That is the way you will bring the name. And what you will want to do is you would have to make this your lookup function. So you would have to create like a unique code. So for instance, you want yellow, so I can make this my unique code, and this is we're digressing. So unique code. So what I would do in that case, I would say equal to this No, that is not going to work, because if we have more than one person living in California and likes yellow, then that's not going to work. No.
Yeah, because the way I'm looking at it is that we have two unique criteria: California, the city, and the color.
So what I'm going to do is we're going to use an if. So we're going to say if this is equal to this and this is equal to this, then bring in this. I think that's what we're going to use. So it would be if color is equal to yellow, and so it's going to be like a combination of if and. So if those two conditions are satisfied, then bring in something. But it won't be counted. It won't be counted. Another way of doing it is putting this in a pivot. So you put this in a pivot, then you can filter by your city and your color to find who the footballer there. Average if, should we move on?
Yeah.
Average if is also really, it's just an average. So you're saying, if you look at this and find the average. So if this condition is satisfied, find the average. So in this case, it would be equal to, we're looking for the average yearly income in London. We have the city, we have the employee names, and we have the yearly income. So if the city is London, then find the average of the income. So it would simply be average if, comma, our range and criteria. Our range is the city. We're looking for the average income in London, comma, our criteria is London, comma, and it's looking for our average range. So this is our average range. And then we'll close the bracket. And our average yearly income in London is 72.33. Let's test that. There's London, London. Go to average. Yeah, so that works. Let me do that again. Delete. And this time around, I'll use the function box. Equal to average if. Open the dialog, open the box, click on function, and it's asking for the range. So what is our range? Our range in this case is we're looking for where the city is, which is here. Our criteria is London. And our average range is
Yearly income.
yearly income. And okay. Can we do that together?
Yep.
Okay, who's gonna help us?
Equal to
Equal to
average if.
average if,
Open bracket.
open bracket,
The city column.
the city column,
Comma.
comma,
London,
London,
comma,
comma,
and the yearly income.
the yearly income. That's our average range.
Close bracket.
Close the bracket. Enter. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes.
Hmm. Okay, let me touch on if error quickly, and then we can go back up to do anyone we've touched and you want us to do again. If error. So we've done VLOOKUP, we've done index and match. And if you notice that we had some errors when we dragged the formula down, we had some errors when it was not referencing the right cell, the right table range. But sometimes, you do this formula and you actually have genuine errors. And it shows as this type of output. And it shows you that something is either wrong with your formula, or maybe you're looking for a particular data that is not in the table that you've specified. So when you have a large data and you do it like a VLOOKUP or something, when you do a VLOOKUP, you're looking for something. And if it's not there, obviously, it will bring up, it will throw NA out if it cannot find that data. And sometimes you might want to, that it won't find everything. But if you're putting a sum on this, for instance, let's try a sum. Let's try to sum this. If we want to sum, if this is a column that we want to sum, we can see that it won't sum because it has some characters that it cannot recognize as numbers. So it won't put a sum. But your data, you want to have a sum of at least the ones that is found. You want to have that sum. So you need to like use an if error formula to take out like any of the errors. So for instance, you have a lookup. And I'm going to go back to that lookup we did, and we're going to put an error. So what you are saying for if error is, if there's an error, you're just saying, if you find an error, then do this. It might be that if you find an error anywhere, just replace that error with a blank, or you can replace it with 0. So in this case, if I say equal to if error, I would open a bracket. If this cell, this is my value, if it's an error, comma, if that is an error, just bring me 0. I just want you to replace that with 0 and close the bracket. Otherwise, you bring me the number. If we drag this down, then everywhere there's an error, he has replaced it with 0. And if I now sum this, then the sum will work because I've effectively replaced all my errors with 0. I'm going to go to...
I'm confused. How is this error equals to 3664?
No, this
I thought the error was equals to 0.
I'm adding this. Yeah, the error in the individual cells. So I'm adding all this together to get 3664.
Okay.
So I'm summing all this. This is what I'm summing. So when I try to sum it before, because of all those errors, I won't get a sum because it won't work. But I'm summing this because I've now replaced all the error cells with 0. Then I'm summing this. And you can literally replace that with anything. It might be that if there's an error, then return check cell or something like that, just like the one we did on the first tab. So you usually use your if error, you combine it with another, you can combine it with your VLOOKUP. So if you combine your if error with your VLOOKUP, you're saying that if you look up this item, I can't find it, instead of giving me an error, just give me 0 or give me 1 or give me check cell or whatever you want it to throw out. You just put it there. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we can, do you want us to go over anyone that we've done?
This one.
What do you have in B11? That sum.
That sum is, so I'm just trying to show why
Okay.
you might want to use an if error formula to take out all these errors. Let me go back to the VLOOKUP. Let me use the VLOOKUP. So we're back on the VLOOKUP. Can you see the VLOOKUP? So I'm not sure if I'm sharing the right screen. Can you see the VLOOKUP screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to drag this the way we dragged it the last time. And you can see all these errors that is showing. And this is showing error because we haven't done the right thing, right? But I want to use it to show the if error formula. We know that we should have frozen this before dragging this. So for instance, if I want to use an if error formula, I'm going to combine it with this VLOOKUP. Just the way, the way we combine the index and match formula. What I'm going to do is I'm going to combine it with this. So I'm saying that I'm going to say that if this if this brings up an error, then give me 0. And the way I would do it is I would take in front of the VLOOKUP and I will start my if error formula. So if error, I'll put I'll put this in a bracket. So I'm saying if that formula, if it throws up an error, what I want is, I want you to replace that error with 0. And then I would close the bracket and enter. So as long as if it doesn't find an error, it's fine. It will do what it should do. It's only when it finds an error that if error will kick in. So I'm going to drag this down. And if you pay attention to the NAs and see what happens to them. So if I drag it down, can you see what has happened to the NAs?
Okay.
Because it's come up with an error, it will replace it with 0. Because those errors can be really unsightly. However, you have to be careful when you use this because it might be that your formula is wrong. And then you're asking it to bring 0. So you will not spot that your formula is wrong. And then your analysis will be wrong. So if you want to use an if error, if you're going to replace that if error with anything, just make sure that you have the right formula in. Otherwise, it will just replace all your errors, totally masking the error. So you won't know that it's actually the formula that is wrong. It's not that you can't find that data, but the formula is wrong. And you won't correct that, you just think you can't find it. So I'll first, always, do my lookup first. And just make sure that, it's fine, or make sure that I am absolutely picking referencing the right cells before I add my if error to it. Okay?
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am. So you said we can as well change it to check cell. So
Yeah.
instead of putting the 0, just
Yeah.
write check cell.
So if you want to put check cell, instead of putting the 0, right, I will put check cell and enter. And then, what have I done? One minute, my battery is bumping. I'm just here to change my mouse battery. Okay, what's happening? Yeah. Can you still see my screen? I'm not sure what I've done now.
Yeah, you click on
Okay.
chat design on, so it's not
So we're
on your screen.
doing check cell. So delete. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
So if we put check cell, check cell, and enter. I'm having some mouse issues there. Okay. Then if we drag this down, can you see this check? The ones that were 0 before, they're now check cell. And then you can actually further put like conditional formatting on this to highlight maybe check cells. So to maybe probably highlight it in red, or if you find check cell, you can put some conditional formatting just to highlight what you're doing. Okay. Is that fine?
Yeah.
All right. The thing with
Please, how
Excel
do
is
we
you
do
can
that?
just
How do we
like
do?
practice what we've done. Just do it yourself. The more you do it, the better you get. If you don't use a particular formula in Excel, you tend to forget. So you just make sure you use it, and then you would continue to remember.
Yeah, but if it would be possible for us to get like an assignment or something, where we can apply all what we've learned so far.
Agree with you.
Well, you can use you can use the data I sent.
Yeah, but like you should tell us what to do. Like
It actually has like if you go to the
get
data, all the cells, it actually tells you. So there are questions on it. Like this is look at all this. So it has a insert formula here. So you can actually do all that.
At least
I
like
think
a
she meant,
project,
yes,
Yeah,
like a
like say
live
find the
scenario on.
average of find the average of this, look up this, do this and stuff. Like
I
Yes,
think
on the
you're not,
application.
you're not actually, there's no application for data analysis. Data is different. So you're not going to get application to work on. It's data that you'll be given, right? Is it that the data is in Excel or the data is in SQL or whatever it is? So what Kemi is saying is like each of this particular field, you have a question specifically to what she's taught you, right? That you can actually answer, right? Which is like, okay, for this is what you need, because this will be like a mandate, right? I want to get this particular information out from this data I've given to you. How do you get it out? Then you slot the formula in there and you get it. Each section, and I think you can go through that quickly to show you again for those people that missed it. Each section, there are different questions that you can look into, right?
So on your data, you can actually, these are questions. How many footballers like color yellow? How many footballers like the color yellow and live in California? So these are actual questions on the data that you can use to practice. And then you have what's the average yearly income in London? So you can actually use all this to practice. And you have your VLOOKUP data as well that you can practice with.
Kemi, can you please quickly do the conditional formatting for the check cell, please?
The check cell.
Oh, hold on. Before we move on that one, the person, the people that are asking for tax to do, does that make sense? Because I need to clarify that. You need to clarify that with me. You know what to do. You got these tasks to do, and you just need to do them. Does that make sense?
No, I don't understand what you mean.
What don't you understand?
You said, are you trying to describe like in a workplace how they'll tell us this is what you bring out and you bring it out from the data? I'm a little bit confused. I didn't understand what you were trying to say.
Okay, all right. So now let's go back a bit. Kemi, if you don't mind, actually, right? I think because you're going to be able to visualize what they're asking you as data analyst, right? And then you look at the right formula to use for that particular data, right? For instance, you might be given a data like this, right? Employee ID, last name, and first name, right? And you may be asked specific questions or giving you some tasks to use or to do based on those data, right?
So for instance, if you're like working on, if there's an organization that wants to like change their HR system and they have data sitting on different spreadsheets, which you need to merge together. So you have your employee ID and last name somewhere, and you need to merge them together on a single spreadsheet. That is when you can use a VLOOKUP to like merge them together to be a single report. That's when you can use your index and match.
Okay.
So if you have like a project, you are like maybe cleaning up data. I mean, organizations are always like changing systems all the time. And you need to clean up your data before you put it into a new system. And most of the time, a lot of organizations, their main aggravation is that they have different sources of truth. So different versions of truth. And you might be asked to like put all this together to get data that will be uploaded to the new system. So you might have to look up data from different sources, which you use a VLOOKUP for, you use your index and match for, to be able to combine the data, because you might have this sitting on one system, employee ID sitting on one system, the benefit sitting on another system, the leave sitting on another system that you might need to combine. So these are just test data on how to use this formula to combine it, but you have to work to the particular scenario that you have.
Okay. There's a particular specification of what they're trying to.
Yeah, what they are trying to achieve.
Yes, that's what we are saying. Can we get a live scenario of the application of what you have taught us?
I can pull something together for you for lookup.
We appreciate that. Thank
Okay.
you.
I can pull something together for you for lookup, and then we'll see how it goes. Okay. Okay, I think our time is up. I'm gonna stop sharing, and I will get back to you on the exercise. All right. I hope it's been useful.
Yeah.
Just a quick one, Kevin, before you leave. I'm thinking maybe next lesson, can you just quickly have maybe 5 minutes for you to be able to put us through how to link two cells, two spreadsheets. Maybe you're doing cash flow, and then you're having an you're having a closing balance in one spreadsheet, and then you open another spreadsheet. You want to have that closing balance as an opening balance in another spreadsheet. How do you link the two and
just equal to and click on what you want to link?
Yes, but sometimes it does. Maybe when you close that spreadsheet,
it would give
automatically when you open the other spreadsheet, it doesn't come up. How do you lock it?
It should actually come up unless you use an if. If you use an if, it won't come up. It might not come up. No,
you just use the equal sign to link it, but sometimes it doesn't come up. Except if you open the other spreadsheet, maybe you have a May. Let's assume that the file is in April. Then you've opened a new one, which is May. Then you want to link April with May. But when you don't open April, the opening balance for May doesn't link. Even
it would actually come up if it's just an equal to. It would link.
Kemi, hold on. I think she's talking about a different file, not the same file in the same. You can have
a different file. Yeah. It would
but
link as long as you haven't changed the name of the other file.
Yeah, but don't you have to open the file, right? The file has to be opened, isn't it? If you don't open the file, does it? Yeah, because the file has to be opened.
Not necessarily.
I'm having that challenge at work that I have to continuously open the previous file in order for me to get the opening balance with the closing balance.
That there's an if. It's if that behaves that way.
Okay.
There's
There's no
probably an
if there because I'm the one that does the spreadsheet and I'm always having that problem in it. So I was thinking maybe, yeah.
Because where I've used this, maybe I would always open the file, to be honest, for this to work actually. But if Kemi says that it's not relevant again, it's been a while.
I use
Anyway,
spreadsheets that are linked to multiple, I
Yeah.
mean, multiple spreadsheets, and they
Okay.
work.
Okay.
And even
What
without
I've found
opening
out
the
is-
multiple spreadsheet, they still open
Yes,
online.
yeah, without
I
opening.
don't know,
multiple-
mine is not like that. I'm always happening. I have to continuously open the other ones for me to get those. Even when
Yeah.
I link it with just
It might
because
also be with maybe the file types are different, the Excel file types.
Yeah. And also it might also be the version of the Office as well.
Yeah, the
Okay.
version, the file
Yeah.
types, it might be the file types, it might also be different.
Yeah.
So you can save
Because
it as the same Excel.
Yeah,
file
I've had the same
type.
issue before. Okay, I've had the same issue before at work. I had to open the file, so then it kind of linked, right? But this is a while
Yeah.
ago anyway. So it's a while ago. So it might be the version of the Office, right, that you have. Because I also know that even if you open a spreadsheet in online as well, you have a different flavor than if you have it also on your local. Let's look at this next week actually, so then yeah, everyone can learn from it anyway. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All
Thank you,
right.
Kemi.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thanks so much for that. I've also learned from this one as well. Thank you for this second. Yeah.
You're welcome.
All right. So okay. So quickly before we leave, I think if you can stop sharing, that's stop recording. That would be good. Anyway, so I can